question 19, part A, find the probability the product of the two numbers selected is 12. So there's a couple of ways I can do this. I could think of every pair of cards that make 12, or I could do a little bit more general. The only way I can get 12 out of these set of cards is if I have a 3 and a 4. So my only way of getting this is if I have a 3 and then a 4. But obviously remember, I could have the 4 first and then a 3 afterwards. So let's consider the two different options. Probability of getting a 3 first gives me 2 out of 6, because there are 2 3s out of 6 cards. And means times probability of getting a 4, 3 out of 5 now, because obviously I've picked one of the cards. Or means add. Probability to get a 4 first time round, 3 out of 6. Times probability to get a 3 second time round, 2 out of 5. So this gives me a probability of 6 out of 30. This also gives me a probability of 6 out of 30. So I get a total probability of 12 out of 30. Now, part B, the sum of the two numbers selected is even. There are a couple of ways of doing this. Option 1, which takes a lot more time, is to consider every pair of numbers that do that. So I could get a 2 plus a 3. Could get a 2 plus this 3, or I could get that 3 plus the 2, the 3 plus the 2. I could get a 3 plus a 3, I could get a 4 plus a 4, but I can do that in a number of different ways, or I could get 4 plus 2. So I could list every possible option and work it out, but that is a little bit more time consuming than considering odd and even numbers. The only way I can add two numbers together to make an even number is if they are both even to start with, or they are both odd to start with. That is the only combination. So if I consider, I'm going to write the numbers down here just to save having to move back and forth all the time. So out of that list of numbers, the only way I can add them to make even is if I do an odd number plus another odd number, or I do an even number and I get another even number. So if I consider the odd scenario, the only way I can get an odd number twice in this is I have to get the 3 first, so that's 1 out of 6, or 2 out of 6, sorry, because there's 2 3s, times by 1 out of 5. So the only way I can get two odd numbers is if I get both the 3s. With the even numbers, initially there are 4 out of 6 even numbers I can choose from, and then I multiply that by 3 over 5 afterwards. So I get 2 out of 30 for this one, and then 12 out of 30 here. So in total, I get a probability of 14 over 30 that I pick two numbers who add up to make an even number.